there, booktubers! I thought it was about time that I did a 30-day reading challenge update for you guys. It's been a little bit over a week, almost 2 weeks now, and I thought I'd show you all the books that I finished and what I briefly thought about them. I'm actually a little bit behind. I should have read 13 books thus far, but I've only managed to read 10 books, but I think that's pretty good considering the fact that I had my doubts on whether or not I was able to read as many as I actually ended up reading. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you and tell you about the books, and then yeah. One of the very first books that I ended up finishing was The Boy in the Striped Pajama by John Boyne. A lot of people really like this book. It is a well-known sort of historical fiction children's story that takes place in World War II, and a lot of people told me that I would adore it, and I didn't. I didn't adore it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But there were some sort of problems that I found in the book. For instance, the main character, Bruno, who seems to be extremely naive, but then in some parts, like, incredibly adult and wise in his dialogue. It is in a first-person narrative, so we do get an inkling of the main character's voice and his opinions, and there are moments where he's just completely ignorant of the things that are happening around him, and then there are these moments or these sentences that he sort of says that seem so much more older than what he is. The story is very emotional, but I didn't like the character. I ended up giving this book 3 out of 5 stars because it was a really good story. There were some problems in it that I couldn't sort of overcome, so it remains just a 3 and nothing more. I finished reading The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This book was not originally in my 30-day reads video, but it was recently released, I think last week, so I bought it and then I read it the same day, and I really liked it. Big fan of Neil Gaiman. I like his stuff. This book in particular is one of my favorites so far. There is so much going on in this book. It is an adult fantasy novel, but it is sort of told in the perspective of a child. I very much enjoyed this. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. So I highly recommend you read this book because it's really good. Next, I finished Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, a classic. Haven't read it before. Essentially about a sort of dystopian world where the firefighters burn books as opposed to put out fires. So they start fires as opposed to putting out fires. And Guy, the main character in this book, is sort of struggling with the whole idea of whether he is doing what is right and whether it is right to burn the books, and he struggles with that after he meets a particularly interesting young girl who seems to open up his eyes and tells him about, like, the amazingness that is books and all that. So I really like this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The pacing was a little slow at some points, but I still very much enjoyed it. Classic that I very much liked, and yeah. I also read a play. I read 2 plays actually. Good Night Desdemona, Good Morning Juliet, which is a very interesting story about the character in here. She is a PhD student who is writing her dissertation on whether or not Othello and Romeo and Juliet are comedies as opposed to tragedies, and then she sort of magically gets inserted into both these stories, and her being there alters the situation and plot, and it is really funny and witty and just a really fast-paced read, and I very much enjoyed it. I would really like to go see this play done live, but I liked it. 4 out of 5 stars, I believe, on Goodreads. Yeah, I'm reading a lot of really great books. I finished 2 Roald Dahl books because I was kind of running behind, and I decided to pull one of these out just to catch up, and I read George's Marvelous Medicine and SEO Trot. SEO Trot is about a man named Mr. Hoppy who is just absolutely in love with his downstairs neighbor, Miss Silver, but she is utterly preoccupied with her turtle, and Mr. Hoppy just wants to get her attention and wants to make her love him, and he decides to manipulate Miss Silver through the turtle, or tortoise, Alfie, in order to win her heart. I'm not particularly happy with that type of message in this book because it is for kids and we shouldn't be manipulating people. So I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. It's charming, very Roald Dahl-y in its humor and the storytelling. I love Roald Dahl. He writes really great for kids. But this wasn't one of my favorites, so I gave it 3 out of 5. George's Marvelous Medicine, on the other hand, is really, really great. Main character, George, he has to take care of his evil grandmother, and she has to take medicine every day at 11 o'clock, I believe. And he decides to concoct this really gruesome sort of medicine to give to his grandmother as a sort of getting back for all the mean things that she's like said and done to him. And he goes around the house throwing all sorts of random ingredients into a huge pot, and he makes her take it, and it ends up, you know, causing very interesting results, and I really liked it. It was really, really cute. 4 out of 5 stars. Then I decided to read something a little bit more philosophical, more specifically the Eastern philosophy, and I read Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. This is a book that was very much recommended to me by a very, very good friend, and he said, you have to read it, it will change your life. It is fantastical and amazing. So I was really expecting this book to change my life. However, I am very, very familiar with Eastern philosophy and Buddhism and Siddhartha in general because I took a course on it. This story didn't change my life. It really did open up my eyes in terms of really thinking about life and sort of finding balance between two extremes. Yeah, I understand. I liked it. It was a really good story. I don't know if maybe it's this particular translation that was different from the translations that other people read. I liked it. The translation was really pretty. It was nice. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5. I'm interested to see if maybe it was the translation that didn't get me, because I did put this book down a few times and I wasn't completely sort of absorbed into the narrative. But yeah, 3.5 stars out of 5. Yeah. Next, I read The Catcher in the Rye by Jd Salinger. Was expecting to hate this book, but actually very, 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 very much enjoyed it. I was really expecting to hate this book and really expecting to hate Holden Caulfield, the main character, but I didn't. I really, really liked him. I give this 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know why I've never read it. I understand that a lot of people hate this book mainly because they had to study it for school, so they're forced to really pick apart the story and the plot and the characters and then write an essay about it, and in my experience that tends to really make people hate books. So having to read this without, you know, ever going through that picking apart things really sort of made an impact, as I very much enjoyed the book. Next, I read The Girl That Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making. I freaking adored this book. It was amazing, charming, and witty, and just fantastical, and just so many enchanting elements that were amazing. September, the main character, is this absolutely awesome little heroine that is brave and intelligent and smart and completely ordinary. She's just so amazing, and everything about this book just reminds me of so many really great children's books that were sort of merged into one, and this is what you get, and I really, really liked it. It was really good. 5 out of 5 stars. Can't wait to read the next book. I read The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, and I really liked that book. It was so funny. It's a play. Another play that I read. Amazing dialogue. Just perfect. 5 out of 5 stars. That's all I can say, and I ended up watching the 2002 film adaptation with Colin Firth, and I really enjoyed it too. Just great. I'm excited to read The Picture of Dorian Gray, because if that is any indication of his writing, then I am very sure that I will like The Picture of Dorian Gray. That is my update. It is very, very long. I'm gonna try to condense this video because I really dislike long videos and they take forever to upload. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment, rate, and subscribe. Ta-ta!